Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Music with Todd Ledbetter, and today we are here with another awesome episode with Aerosmith. We're doing a follow up with another album. In our last album, we did the history, a little bit about the album Toys in the Attic, and today we're going to talk about their next album after that, which is Rocks. We're going to follow up with that, and much like their last album, this one was met with quite a bit of acclaim. However, there were still a lot of dark times for some of the members and the demons that would rear their heads. It was definitely a crazy journey to where they are now. So sit back and strap in and grab yourself a cold one, and let's dive in. Aerosmith found massive success after their release of Toys in the Attic, and everyone was really getting into their music and discovering exactly why Aerosmith was such a force to be reckoned with. They were so in demand that 1976 opened up with a hit from their first album. Yeah, that's right. It was initially a minor success. It was released in 1973. That was Dream On. It came back on the radio and it made it to top 10. And Aerosmith found fame and success. But one question loomed over them: with the bar set so high with Toys in the Attic, would they be able to recreate the same raw magic? Could you imagine doing something so amazing that it changed your life and then you're expected to do it again, but differently and better than before? And that's what they were facing. So luckily for Aerosmith, they were comprised of bad to the bone members. In their memoirs, Joe Perry recalled that session. He didn't feel like any crazy expectations were on them when they went into the studio to start recording. So everyone was actually more focused, and they had more focus than they had been in a long time. So they knew what was at stake, but they didn't see it as some sort of daunting task. Rather, they saw it as their chance to really solidify their place in the industry. Steven Tyler and the rest of the band, they knew that the album needed to be better than anything they had done up to that point, but they were up to the challenge. They decided to experiment with a number of different sounds and styles throughout the recording session. On top of this, they wanted to add a sense of spontaneity to the tracks. One example is found in the track "Sick as a Dog." While recording, the bassist Tom Hamilton and the singer Steven Tyler, they did a live instrument swap. And Perry explained that Hamilton actually wrote this guitar riff, and he was recorded on the guitar, and Perry on the bass, and everyone else was in their regular place. Then, while the tape was still rolling, everyone started to switch instruments. It took 3 or 4 takes, but the end product was something pretty special. And not only was it uniquely made, the track became a symbol to the band that they knew each other as musicians. Okay, with this wild spirit, Aerosmith pumped out an aggressive 9 song album entitled Rocks. The opening track, Back in the Saddle, would eventually make its way to the top 40 single. And the guitarist Brad Whitford said in an interview, "That's probably my favorite Aerosmith record. I like it because it was basically live and very little production or overdubs on it. It was just Aerosmith kind of in the raw. And that's the way I always wanted Aerosmith to do it." Let's take a look at some of the album tracks on the Rocks. It was released on 1976. It's about 34 minutes long. It's got 9 songs, and it does start with "Back in the Saddle Again." That was a hit for them. And the second track is "Last Child," another song that they released as a single. You got "Rats in the Cellar," great. All these songs are just rocking songs. Great album. You got "Combination," you got "Sick as a Dog," one of my favorite. "Nobody's Fault" is probably my favorite on the album. You got "Get the Let Out," you got "Lickin' a Promise," and then you've got "Home Tonight," which is the album ender, which is their sort of ballad, which really is kind of like an early indicator of later on in their career when they had just like the string of those sappy ballads. But this one I really like, I guess because maybe it was one of their early ones, different than Dream On for sure, way different. But that's the 9 songs on the album. They're super great songs and just this rocking album, and actually ends well with Home Tonight, I think. Kind of kind of after just an aggressive, 30 minutes, you get a 3 minute and 17-second song that just kind of lets you down and lets you right out of the album. It seemed nothing could stop the band from continuing its journey on the top, but sadly, some members of the band, mainly Steve Tyler and Joe Perry, couldn't shake their rock star life mentality. And just like in the days while they were recording Toys in the Attic, their demons were ever present. The guys in the band, they were riding high on the incredible level of stardom. They were on the radio, on television, and playing shows in the biggest arenas all over the world. Rocks was a success, but with all of this fame came limitless opportunities to indulge in the damaging lifestyles that already plagued them up to this point. So at this point, their drug use elevated to such a level that they nearly gave up trying to hide it. Everyone that they traveled with knew what they were doing and what was going on, but they just left them alone. And Tyler and Perry's drug use even reached such a level that they hired roadies their sole job was just to give them bumps of cocaine during their sets. So Steven Tyler wrote, Joe had vials of Coke with straws in them at the back of the stage. And while the lights would go out, he would go over to the back of the stage and like he was checking on equipment or making an adjustment to the amp or something. And the roadie would just put a straw up to his nose and he'd take a hit. And then the lights would come back on again. So pretty serious drug use. Along with the drug use, Perry and Tyler's drug use, they were both fond of female companionship. In other words, they were pretty much addicted to sex with the female fans. And like many rock bands in the 70s, Aerosmith had groupies at every show, large amounts of them too. There were plenty of girls to go around, but however, the band members sometimes decided to share. For whatever reason they did this, it didn't always go their way. In his memoirs, in Does the Noise in My Head Bother You, Steven Tyler wrote about a specific instance where their debauchery was out of control and they paid a price for it too. I remember one night, Steven says, on the road when uh, Joe and I were sharing a bed with 2 girls and woke up in the morning with a seafood blue plate special, crabs for everybody. In English, this meant that there was a sexual act involving everyone in the same bed and everyone involved got STDs. It's disgusting, pretty gross. All right. So I guess that's the life of the rock star. Just with their previous album, though, their wild lifestyle, it didn't really seem to have much of an effect on their ability to make the music in the studio. Although there was a few negative reviews, but the vast majority saw Rocks as proof that Aerosmith was a band that could evolve and transform and even inspire. And in the United States, the album made number 3 on the Billboard 200. Their 3 biggest hits from the Rocks album was Last Child, Home Tonight, Back in the Saddle. All of those were hits. The album would also serve as inspiration for many future musicians, including Kurt Cobain, who wrote in his journal that Rocks was one of his favorite albums. Uh, James Hetfield from Metallica, as well as Guns N' Roses guitarist Slash, both credit this album, as well as the band, for inspiring them to pursue music to the extent that they did. Even though the story revolves around some pretty tumultuous times for Aerosmith during those years of Toys in the Attic and Aerosmith, it does get better. You can take a look at them in the recent years, and all of them are pretty much shaken free from all their drug addictions and sex addictions, far as we know. Uh, They use their story also to encourage others to avoid the lifestyle they found themselves in. We've been given a unique opportunity to examine the rock and roll history of Aerosmith, all while knowing how the story's already turned out. We're pretty much guaranteed a happy ending, and that was reached by traveling a very difficult road for them. So as we move forward in our series, I appreciate you guys staying tuned. I thank you all so much once again. That's amazing to get the time to put into music and talk about music and how it evolves over time. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about our videos as well. So be sure to leave a comment down below, and maybe you can inspire me for another video topic too. Let me know who you'd like to hear more about. While you're clicking around down there, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And I'm going to be releasing plenty of videos over the next while, and I want to get you guys there for all of them. So make sure that you click that notification bell and subscribe. And also, if you look down into the description, there's also some ways you can help the channel. There's a coffee brand down there. There's Teesprings if you want to get some merch. There's Venmo, and there's PayPal, and other unique ways that you can help out and help me grow this channel. I want to thank you guys for clicking and watching the video, and we will see you guys soon. Thanks so much. See you next time. Bye-bye.